Believe it or not, but this swimmer here and this swimmer here are the same person, just 4 years apart. In 2019, Will Draper sent through a video that we used on a Feedback Friday episode right here on YouTube. And what we looked at in that video was a body position that was very low, a catch on his right side that wasn't that good, and timing in the stroke that was really out of sync and coordination with the rest of his stroke. And what we've seen in the last 4 years is that Will has gone from being an age group triathlete to qualifying as a pro triathlete in 2021. And now in 2023, he managed to achieve 4 top 10 results in PTO ranked triathlons. And now he finds himself just off the front pack in triathlon. And not only does this show that if you put the work in, you can achieve really big things in your swimming and in triathlon, but you can also make huge improvements to your technique in how you look, in how you feel, and ultimately the speed in which you're going. In this video, I want to show you 3 key things that Will has managed to improve and change in his stroke. And it's certainly come with hard work, but it's also come with a big focus on technique. So let's take a deep dive at those 3 things that he's improved in a big way. And then at the very end of the video, I'm going to share with you 3 things that I believe Will can focus on now to help him bridge that gap to the front pack and be competing with the best triathletes in the world when it comes to his swim. The very first thing you'll notice here is that his body position has improved dramatically. In the first video that Will sent us, his hips was very low and his legs were very low. And he was also dipping his head under the water each time that he would take a breath. So there wasn't much tautness, there wasn't much of a straight body line, and he just wasn't that efficient in the water. He was still swimming at a reasonable pace, but he wasn't helping himself with his body position. So you can see here that in the second video, he's now got his head, hips and heels at the surface, and he's got a much straighter, more streamlined body position. And when we're swimming freestyle, we want to imagine we've got this rope from our head through to our toes, and we're pulling that piece of rope taut rather than having a dip or a sag in that rope. So you want to be long through the body and have this tautness through the middle of the body. And Will's got that in spades now. This looks really good, and it's a huge difference. So by having his hips up higher, he's able to be so much more efficient with his stroke. The second thing that he's made a huge improvement to is the timing. On his right arm, he was starting the catch too soon. So you can see in his before video that his right arm was pulling through kind of straight away. After he entered, he was pulling through, and it was out of sync with the rest of his stroke. And so it just meant that his right arm wasn't connected very well with the rest of his body and his rotation and his kick. Now he's managed to keep that right arm reaching forwards for a little bit longer before he starts moving his hand through to start the catch and the pull. And by doing that, it means that when he goes through with his catch on his right arm, he's coordinating that with his kick on the right side. So his catch and his kick on the right side are now going together, whereas before they were out of sync, just a little bit. But that makes a huge difference. And it also makes it a lot easier for breathing. So he's able to get that breath at a better time, and the head is coming back down with his right arm catch, which is what we want to see. The third thing that you'll notice here is that his catch on his right side, partly as a result of that better timing, is so much better. Initially, he was pushing down on the water. So his palm, his forearm was mostly pressing down on the water through the movement of the catch, as opposed to pressing back. But now he's managed to set himself up with a really good catch on both sides. And that just means that when he goes through the catch and pull, his palm and his hand are facing more backwards, pushing towards his feet. And that's what's helping him move forwards. So by getting the timing right, first with that, that's helped him get a better catch on that right arm. So what's the result of a better stroke and better technique? Well, currently Will did a time trial in the pool. He did a 1500 in 18:23 and a 100 time trial in 59 seconds. Now, this is swimming really well, especially for a professional triathlete, where that's where most of those top triathletes will be, especially for half Ironman. That's really competing with them in the pool when it comes to those times. So it means he's swimming faster, he's swimming a lot more efficiently. But what could he work on next? How can he bridge that gap to the top group? What did I recommend to him when it comes to what to focus on now? Well, some of those things are actually not even really related to technique. There was a few things that came to mind when Will was telling me about his story. The first one is with triathlon, with pro triathletes, there's usually the front pack and they'll go out hard and they'll go out strong. They'll make a break for it. And then the pace tends to settle a little bit. So he might need to work on being able to go out fast and strong and then just calm the heart rate down and then just manage his pace after that. So by doing sets where he's going 150 meters fast and then going comfortable, like a 7 out of 10 for 250, doing that multiple times, that can help him just get used to going out strong and then settling down from there. Now, as an amateur triathlete, do you need to do that? Maybe not. But if you're really looking to keep pace with those front pack swimmers, you might need to get good at going out strong, getting the rating up a bit, and then just calming down from there. So that was my first suggestion to Will. The second thing that I was looking at here is he may need to ease off the thought of trying to be too perfect with his technique. A trap that many people fall into, especially when they're hyper-focused on their technique, is that they try and be overly perfect with the stroke to the detriment of their overall speed, where they don't kind of let things go, especially in the open water. We just need to give a little bit of, be a little bit scrappier sometimes. We can't be perfect in the open water when it's choppy. So sometimes we have to be a bit more assertive over the top, enter with a bit more assertion, and also just get the rating up as a result. And there's a fine balance between getting the rating up and maintaining distance per stroke, but swimming in the open water is a reasonably different stroke to the pool when it's calm and flat. So it might be a mix of just allowing himself to get a little bit scrappier to get the stroke rate up and just adapt for the open water. And my last suggestion would be on the right-hand side at the back of the stroke, he's a little bit deep after he passes under his shoulder. So from here, when he's passing under his shoulder to his exit, the palm ends up facing upwards for a little bit too much of that stroke. So rather than moving shallower and having the palm of the hand facing backwards, it's facing upwards for that last third of the stroke. So if he could move a little bit shallower through that last half of the pull and the press phase, then that should allow him just to get a little bit more out of that stroke. So I think it's a little bit of a carry on from the things that he was doing previously. So he sorted out that catch movement, which looks great, setting that up beautifully. But then just from that moment on, he's probably just going a little bit deep with the arm and maybe just trying to maintain that feeling of a catch for a bit too long. So I'd suggest just go a little bit shallower to keep that palm facing back a bit longer in the stroke. So they were my main suggestions for Will. Considering he's gone from where he was to where he is now, that is a huge improvement. If you'd like to watch that very first Feedback Friday video we did of Will Draper, you can watch it here.